Now, in today's lecture, what you are going to discuss, what is the scope of plan for the supervisor? Okay, so basically, when the supervisor is involved in the planning activity, to what extent he should make the plan? Okay, what is the scope of his planning? So, supervisors are basically dealing with the plans which are normally short term in duration. The duration of this plan may be daily plan, weekly plan, fortnightly plan, or monthly plan, or at the max, they may be half yearly plan or yearly plan. But mostly the supervisor is going to deal with the plans which are short term planning, and these are normally day to day activities, planning for the day to day activities, monthly activities at the max. Okay, so and based on seasonal basis, they are going to just involve in quarterly planning and also. But basically, their scope of plan or duration of the plan is short term. Okay, so supervisor makes short term planning, which can involve, and what involves in the short term planning. So, what is when the supervisor is going to make the planning? It involves scheduling of the daily activities. Whatever the daily activities you are supposed to perform, scheduling of the raw material, how the raw material is going to be distributed among the various groups. Okay, and completing the production target. Okay, and purchasing for that purpose. So these are the activities which are come under the scope of the supervisor plan. Okay, so basically supervisor is involved in making the short term planning, and that involves involves scheduling daily activities. Day to day काम जे असेल ते कसं ऍक्टिव्हेट करायचं, शेड्यूल कसं करायचं, then raw material. Okay, what is the raw material required for producing that much amount of the events and all these things, and completing the production target for purchasing. Now, second thing is that supervisor look into the work of his subordinate. This is also the work of a supervisor. He should look into the work of subordinates. Okay, and take care of the workflow. And he should take care of the workflow, whether the subordinates or the workers are working in the desired manner or not. They are able to complete their task, assigned task in the proper manner or not. If they are facing certain difficulties, then supervisor must guide them how to perform that work and how to just complete the task on time. Next, supervisor look after subordinate report to him about his work. Okay, and if subordinates are not able to complete there, so supervisor should. So in that case, the supervisor should report to the subordinates. Okay, that you are not working in the proper manner. You need to just improve your working style, or you need to just improvement in your approach or like this one. Okay, so he has to just suggest them. Supervisors are internally focused in planning. So basically the scope of planning for the supervisor is internal. Okay, so whatever the raw material is available, whatever the daily targets are set, okay, and whatever the machineries are available, the supervisor scope is only on that. So it is the internal factor within the organization. So supervisor internally focus on planning. They manage group of employees. Okay, supervisor will manage the group of employees. Their duties are focused on internal operations, and whatever the duties of supervisors, they are simply on the internal operation. If the focus is mainly on the internal operation of the organization, supervisor plans the target related to manpower. Okay, then what is the next work of the supervisor? Supervisor plans the target budget related to the manpower. So he will manage the budget. What is the amount required for recruitment of the manpower? What is the amount required for their wages, salaries, and all these things? So monthly budgets is going to be made by the supervisor. Then overhead expenses. If certain overhead expenses are the repair, maintenance, or some expenses are required, then he has to give the these in the budgets. Then what is the quantity of the raw material required for producing the targets, well, volume. Okay, and other project small expenses and miscellaneous expenses required for executing that project. So this is the duty of the supervisor, that he has to submit the budget related to the manpower requirement, related to the overhead expenses, raw material requirement for executing the target or accomplishing the targets, and the project small expenses over there. Now, what are the steps? Steps in planning and detailing activities. The planning process is different from one plan to another and one organization to another. So basically, even though in your day-to-day life also, whatever the planning you are going to do, that will change from instance to instant, one person to person. Okay, one plan to another plan, as well as one organization to another organization. Simple taking the example that when the exam will come at that time, each and every student from your class will plan for his studies. Okay, but the planning of each and every person will be different. एक्झाम जशी जशी जवळ येतं तसं प्रत्येक जण आपल्या आपल्या प्लॅनिंगने त्याची प्लॅनिंग करतो की मी असा अभ्यास करेल, असं हे करेल, ते करेल. पण प्रत्येकाची प्लॅनिंग डिफरंट आहे. सर्व एकत्र काही लोक काय करतात, काही मुलं रात्री अभ्यास करतात, काही सकाळी अर्ली मॉर्निंगला, काही दुपारी अभ्यास करतात. सो दॅट प्लॅनिंग विल बी डिफरंट फ्रॉम पर्सन टू पर्सन, organization to organization, and task to task. It will change. The step generally involves in planning are as follows. Basically, what are the steps involved in planning? So the first and the most important step in the planning is the establishing goal or objective. सर्वात महत्त्वाची जी प्लॅनिंगची स्टेप असेल ती काय आहे, तुमचा गोल इस्टॅब्लिश झाला पाहिजे किंवा ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह असायला पाहिजे. सपोज आय वॉन्ट टू डू द प्लॅनिंग फॉर माय एक्झाम. ओके, ॲज अ थर्ड इयर स्टुडंट तुमची प्लॅनिंग आता चालू असेल किंवा चालू होईल when the exam dates are declared. At that time you are going to start your planning. So what is your goal that is going to be established first. मग काही मुलांचा गोल काय आहे की मला फक्त पास व्हायचं. ओके, some students will make the goal that I just want to clear all the subject. Some students have the goal that I want to score minimum 70% or minimum 60%. Minimum 60%. Okay, some students have the goal that I want to be just topper in the class. ओके, प्रत्येकाचा गोल काय असेल वेगळा असेल. प्रत्येकाचा गोल वेगवेगळा सेट केलेला आहे. काही मुलांचे ज्यांचे बॅकलॉग असतील त्यांचा काय गोल असेल त्याला मागचे पण क्लिअर करायचे आणि या सेमिस्टरला ऑल क्लिअर व्हायचे. सो द गोल विल बी डिफरंट. Okay, so first step is that you need to establish the goal. Say I have established the goal that I want to achieve the 60% marks, minimum 60% marks in this class. So what I am going to do, that is my goal. My goal, what is my goal now? I want to clear all the subject with minimum 60% with first class. So establishment of the goal is done. So when you are going to establish the goal, then you are going to start your efforts to accomplish that goal. Okay, so if you are not set the goal, मी काही गोलच सेटअप नाही केलाय. ओके, आता मी काय फायनल इयरला आय हॅव नॉट सेट अप एनी गोल. सो इज इट पॉसिबल फॉर मी टू जस्ट study for that purpose? No, it is quite difficult for you. So what you need to do, first step is what you have to establish the goal. The first step in the planning process is to determine the goal or objective, what you need to do. Okay, just like in the previous case also we have discussed the example. If I want to go to Shirdi, okay, so I have set my goal that I want to go to Shirdi. So that is my goal, my destination is there. When I have the destination, then only it is possible for me to just go to start my journey. If I don't have the destination, I can't start my journey. So goal is your destination. Okay, so if destination is there in your mind, then only you are able to start your journey towards achieving your goal. Okay, whether it is possible to just complete your journey, that is that matter of time. But at least when you have decided the destination, you have decided the objective, you have decided the goal, then only it is possible for you to start your journey. Okay, at least तेव्हा तुम्ही चालू करू शकता. Okay, there are these goals are set up by the top level management after number of objective has been carefully considered. So in case of the organization, whatever the goals are there, these goals are set by the top level management. And how they are going to set that goals? They are going to find out the various alternative and consider the number of alternative. And after analyzing the number of alternative or objectives, they will finalize certain objective, and those objectives are called as the goal. These objective sets depend on the number of factors like mission of the organization, abilities of the organization. So whatever the objectives they are going to finalize, okay, as a goal, they can be finalized, they will finalize those objectives by considering the n number of factors. The one factor is your mission. What is the mission of organization? For what purpose the organization will exist? Okay, what are the abilities of organization? Okay, so if you are going to just set a goal which is unrealistic, so basically what happened, the goal your goal should be smart. Okay, so this is very important thing. Your goal should be smart. Now what is meant by the smart goal? Smart goal means what? S stand for specific. Your goal should be specific. Okay, your goal must tell you that I want to achieve this. Your goal should be specific. Okay, goal specific असायला पाहिजे. Second, yes, yum means you are measurable. Your goal should be measurable. Okay, just like I have set the goal that I want to go to Shirdi. Okay, so my destination is fixed. My destination is fixed. So my goal is what? Specific. Now it is measurable. How it is measurable? The distance from Kopargaon to Shirdi is nearly 15 kilometer. Okay, so I can if I will reach up to say 50%. Okay, so I can come to know that my goal is 50% achieved or 60%. I have crossed 8 kilometers, so I come to know that nearly 50% journey is over. Okay, so your goal should be measurable. Yes, M. Okay, for yes for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable. Okay, your goal should be attainable. Okay, so I can attain the goal. I cannot set the goal. I want to go to moon within 1 day. Okay, is it attainable? Okay, so at this moment it is not attainable for me because I don't have that resources which is required to accomplish that goal. माझा गोल काय आहे, सपोज मी गोल सेट केला की मला आज एका दिवसामध्ये चंद्रावर जायचं. इज इट पॉसिबल? कॅन आय अटेन दिस गोल? बिकॉज आय डोंट हॅव द रिक्वायर्ड रिसोर्सेस. सो वेन यू आर गोइंग टू सेट अप द गोल, your goal should be in such a way that it should be attainable with the resources which are available with you. Okay, but if I'm going to set the goal, I want to go to CAD, it can be easily attainable because I have the required resources which are required to accomplish that goal. Okay, then goal should be realistic. R. Stand for realistic. My goal should be realistic one. So when I'm going to say the realistic goal, what is mean by the realistic goal over here? So it should be in the same in the way that when I say my goal should be realistic. Okay, तो पॉसिबल असायला पाहिजे. असं नाही बनवू शकत की मी टाइम मशीन एका दिवसामध्ये बनवू शकतो. Okay, so is it realistic? I can just go in bags or something like this one. So my goal is not realistic in that case. Okay, so what you are going to do, your goal should be realistic also. जे याच्यामध्ये काय होतं येतं. Okay, yes, M, A, R and T. Now, first, S stand for what? It should be smart. M stand for short. It should be measurable. A stand for it should be attainable. R stand for it should be realistic. Okay, so it should be realistic. जे अचीव करू शकतो, attainable आहेत. That is possible. Okay, then T stand for time bound. Your goal should be time bound. It must have the time limitation. It must have the deadline that I can complete my target within 1 day, within 4 hours, within 6 hours, within 1 month, within 1 years. Okay, like that. It should be time bound. The goal should be always time bound. So your goal should be always smart goal. Okay, smart, S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for realistic, and T for time bound. So when you are going to establish the goal or when you are going to set up this goal, these goals can be set up by considering the number of factors like the mission of organization, abilities of organization, and in the abilities they are going to consider these things. Okay, so these factors, smart factor is going to be considered in the abilities of the organization. So in the same manner, when you are going to establish your goal, when you are going to just set your goal, at that time you have to consider all these things. Your goal should be smart. Okay, the session wise or department wise objectives are planned at the lower level. So what they are going to do, they are going to just make the session wise objective or the department wise objective. Okay, so in session wise objective or department wise objective, these are going to be planned at the lower level after determining the organization's objective. Defining the objective of every department is very essential because various departments are working in the various manner. The functions performed by each and every department will be different. Okay, so function performed by the purchase department is totally different from the function performed by the production department. Okay, production department will actually perform the function of manufacturing the units. Okay, and purchase department will purchase the raw material or the some machinery required for doing that. So functions will be different, so their objective are also going to be different. After this, only clear cut direction will be available to the department. Okay, so if when you are going to just set the goals and then you are going to divide that goal into the small part. So just like we have already discussed that if I am going to just consider one case over here. Okay, so in that case what I am going to do, so this is my goal over here. But if I'm going to, this is the goal set by the top management. So this goal, if I'm directly giving to all the department, then it is not possible to achieve. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just divide the goals into certain parts. This is related to the purchase, this is related to the production, this is related to the maintenance, this is related to the finance, HR, like this one. Okay, then they will try to achieve their goals. Okay, and at the ultimate, when all the will achieve their goal, ultimately your final goal is going to be achieved over there. After this only the clear cut direction will be available to the department. Control process is very easy if the objectives are clearly defined. Okay, so what is going to be happen, my control is going to be very easy. ओके, कंट्रोल खूप इझी होऊन जाईल किंवा जेव्हा माझे ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह क्लिअरली डिफाईन असेल. ओके, सो इफ आय वॉन्ट टू कंट्रोल ओव्हर दिस थिंग्स, सो वेन आय नो दॅट व्हॉट एक्झॅक्टली आय हॅव टू डू ॲट दॅट टाइम, माय कंट्रोल इज गोइंग टू बी व्हेरी इझी. मला माहिती आहे की लोकांना काय करायचं आहे आणि जेव्हा ते मला माहिती असेल त्या टाइमला मी कंट्रोल करू शकतो, वेदर दे आर कंप्लीट द ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह ऑर नॉट. आय कॅन इझिली चेक इट. ओके, सो नाव इरेजर. Okay, so second phase of this one is the planning activity, establishing planning premises. Now, when I need to establish the planning premises means the condition under which the planning activity will be undertaken. So, I need to find out the condition under which condition I have to plan my activities. I have to undertake my activities. Planning premises are planning assumptions. In this way, normally, as we already discussed, that planning we are going to do for the future. Okay, and future is uncertain, we don't know the future, so we need to do the prediction. Planning premises are the planning. Okay, assumptions, planning premises काय मध्ये काय येणार आहे, planning assumptions येतील. Assumptions means your predictions, like expected environmental factors. What are these assumptions? First one, what might be the expected environment. Okay, then pertinent facts, so some previous data is going to be available, so pertinent facts, information related to the future such as general economic condition, all these things. Okay, then population trends, competitors behavior. Okay, so these are the some things that we need to consider in the planning premises. Okay, so the first one is that we need to make some assumptions, and assumptions means your prediction regarding to the futures. Okay, so in these assumptions you need to just find out the expected environmental factors. What are the environmental factors that are going to, that may be a socio-economical factors, that may be political factors. Okay, then some pertinent facts related to your business or your related manufacturing or something. Then information related to the future such as general economic condition. Okay, what is the GDP rate, what may be the possible taxation and all these things that you need to consider. Then population trends, whether the populations are on increasing, decreasing, and what is the choice of the populations, to which trends they are going to be. So we need to do the survey analysis for this purpose. For finding out the population trend, you need to do the analysis. We need to conduct the number of surveys, and through the survey, we can find out the data, and then by analyzing the data, we come to know about the population trends. Then what is the behavior of the competitors in the market, that you also study over here. Planning premises can be classified as internal as well as external. Okay, so when I need to do the planning, I have to consider two parameters. One is the internal parameters which are related to the inside the organizations, as well as the external parameters because my organization is operating in the dynamic environment, and that my external parameters includes government is there, then competitors are there, environment is there, technological changes are there, policies are going to be changed. So premises, so internal external premises involves, premises may exist within and outside the enterprise. So my premises exist inside the organization as well as outside the organization, within the organization as well as outside the organization. Internal premises include self forecast. Now, what are the internal premises? So, internal premises include self forecast. Okay, ability of the organization in the form of machines. How many machines are available in the organization, so that I can decide my production rate and all these things related to the self forecast. Then, method of design. Okay, then behavior of the owners and employees. Okay, so these are the internal parameters which I can manipulate, which I can know in advance. Okay, so internal parameters, that is self forecast, we know about what is the ability of my organization, how many machines are there, how many materials are there, how much financial resources are available, what is the method of use for producing these plans. Okay, what are the designs are available. Okay, so these are certain things which are okay, which I need to consider. Then the external premises. Second thing is the external premises. The external premises exist outside the enterprise. Okay, external premises are going to be exist outside the enterprise, and these includes general business and economic environment. Okay, then technological changes, then government policies and regulations, policies and regulations, and population growth. What is the effect of growth in the population on the my business? Okay, so these are some things that are going to be affected in case of internal as well as the external. So while planning, I need to consider both the internal premises as well as the external premises also. Then the second and most is say important is the tangible and intangible premises. So intangible premises means those which can be quantified. Okay, so tangible premises are those which can be quantified. Quantified means what? I can measure it. Okay, I can sense it. Tangible things are going to be sense, measure. Okay, intangible things cannot be sensed. If I am going to produce, say I have sell 10 units of cell phone. Okay, say I have a shop. In my shop, 10 customers have come, and I have sold him the 10 piece of the cell phone. Okay, so I can quantify that how much amount of or how much quantity of the cell phone you have sold, but I cannot quantify what is their reaction. Okay, so some say behavior things or some their expectations are going to be made. Okay, so all the cell phones which I have sold are of same company, of same brand and same model. ओके, मी माझ्याकडे 10 कस्टमर आले, 10 कस्टमरांनी काय केलेलं आहे, एकच मॉडेलचा एकाच कंपनीचा आणि सेम मोबाईल परचेस केला ॲट द सेम कॉस्ट. ओके, ते झालं टँजिबल. पण त्याचं इनटँजिबल काय आहे? इनटँजिबल काय आहे? प्रत्येकाची एक्सपेक्टेशन काय होते, प्रत्येकाची जी लेवल ऑफ फुलफिलमेंट, सॅटिस्फॅक्शन. Okay, that is going to be intangible. Satisfaction असेल त्यांचं, someone is going to be very excited that that might be their first phone or that much, so their expectations are going to be made. Someone is not going to be that much satisfied with that one. Okay, so that is the intangible which I cannot predict. Okay, so if that is comes under the intangible premises, they include, so intangible premises include the population growth. So population I can count, so it is the tangible event. Industry demand, that also I can count, so it is a tangible event. Capital and resources investment. Investment is in the monetary terms, in the say money, so I can count it. Okay, so capital and resources also countable. So the whatever is countable or whatever can be seen, these are called as the tangible. And intangibles are not countable, these cannot be seen. They will vary from person to person. Okay, and in case of intangible, on the other hand, political stabilities, I cannot predict the political stabilities. Sociological factors, attitude and behavior of the owner, I can't change the attitude, I can't find something whether the how can just measure the attitude, how to measure the behavior of the owners or the my customer. Okay, so these are called as the intangible which we cannot predict, which we cannot directly measure. Okay, so the some things that we cannot directly measure, this comes under the intangible assets. Okay, just like when you go to the restaurant, you're going to order some uh, snacks. Okay, so when you're going to order the snacks, the quantity that you're going to order, the quantity that you're going to order is the tangible. Okay, suppose I have ordered something. Okay, 2 plates, 3 plates, that is a tangible, but the taste is intangible. Okay, because the taste is going to be changed from person to person. Some may feel it is a good taste for the same piece or for the same order. Some may not like that taste also, so that is the intangible. The intangible cannot be measured, so this it is basically related to the satisfaction level of the person. Okay, then controllable as well as non-controllable premises. So what comes under the controllable premises and what comes under the non-controllable premises, that we are going to discuss. Some of the planning premises are controllable and other are non-controllable. Some examples of non-controllable factors are strikes, war, natural calamities and legislations. These are outside the control of the organization. Okay, if the workers are going to go on the strikes or there is a strike all over the say nation. Okay, of the transport strike is there or something is there, if the transport strike is there, your material does not come on the time, so it is not in your control, we cannot change that. War, we cannot change as an organization employee or as a manager of a single organization, I cannot control the war which is going to be exist between two nations. Okay, natural calamities, I can't have any, I don't have any control over the natural calamity, I don't have any control over the earthquake, I don't have any control over the tsunami, I don't have control over the floods. Okay, so natural calamities are going to become. that these are uncontrollable. Legislations, the laws are going to be changed, the government rules or regulations are going to be changed. I can't control these things. So these are now called as the non-controllable parameter. Because of the non-controllable factors, organization have to revise the plan periodically. And if there are non-controllable factors, then we need to change the plans periodically as per the development. Just like nowadays, many organizations have suffered from the COVID-19 issue. Okay, so what is going to be happen? No one has predicted that such situation is going to be arise, and no one has considered this in the planning. But this situation will come. So that comes under a natural calamity, or it may comes under the war. That may be a biological war also. At this moment, we don't know what is going to. But as a owner of an organization, we don't have any control over there. So what is in your hand? In your hand, we can just revise our plan. Okay, we need to revise the plan as per the directions of the government or as per the development in the market, current development in the market. We need to revise the plan. That is only in our hand. So controllable factors are available. Now, what comes under the controllable factors? The controllable factors are available are the availability of the resources, skill managers and labors. So this comes under the controllable factors. Okay, so how many managers are available, how much resources are available, what are the skills of my managers, okay, and what are the skill set of the laborers, these I can control. Okay, if my labor does not have the required skill, then I will provide them the training to incorporate the skills in the labor. In the same manager, if my managers are also lagging in some skill, then I can impart them training so that the skills of the managers are going to be increases or the modified. Okay, so as per the requirement of the scenario or the market, I will just provide the training to the manager as well as labor time to time so that their skill set is going to be improved. Then controllable factors, also availability of the resources. I can make the availability of the resources as per the requirement. Okay, so next one is what the deciding of the planning period. This is very important thing. When you are going to discuss this one, as we already discussed, when you are going to do the set the goals, so your goal should be time bound. So in the same manner, when you are going to do the planning also have certain time. Okay, time frame. It may be, it has specific time. Within that time, it should be achieved. That time may be one day, it may be 1 week, it may be 2 week, it may be month, it may be quarter, it may be half yearly, yearly, or it may be long term plans spreading up to 20 years or something. So when you are going to decide, do the planning, at that time you need to consider this also. The period or the duration of plan is decided after establishing the planning premises. Some plan, so when you are going to decide the duration of the plan, so duration of the plan can be decided after establishing the planning premises. Once you establish the planning premises, then only you are able to decide the planning period. Some plans may vary depending upon the types of objective or work. So in that case, some plans will vary. Okay, definitely there is a variations, because when you are going to the plannings, we are going to just predict the futures. We are going to just assume the futures that my future will be like this one. Okay, so it might be possible that future or whatever your assumptions are not 100% accurate. They may be vary. So you need to vary the plans depending on the types of objective or work. Companies generally base their period on future that can reasonably be anticipated. So basically what happen when the companies are going to do the planning, so they are going to just first decide the planning period based on how, at what extent they can analyze the future, at what extent they can anticipate the future, that these things are going to be happen in the future. So based on that, they are going to just establish the plan. The factors which influence the choice of periods are, okay, so there are certain factors which will influence the choice of. One is the lead time in the development of commercialization of the new product. The lead time must be considered while deciding the time. What is the lead time? The time required for developing the product, okay, or commercializing the product. For example, an aircraft building company planning to start a new project should have the planning period of 5 to 10 years, whereas the small manufacturer of the spare part would have commercialized his idea in a year, also make the annual plans. Okay, so based on your whatever the product you are going to launch, based on that your time period will change, lead time will change. If a aircraft manufacturing company is there, or if a cargo manufacturing company is there, ship manufacturing, so basically they need to just consider the planning period. Their planning period may extend up to 20 years also. 5 to 10 years is the normal period, but it may go on increasing. depending on whether what technology you are going to use and all something. And if it is you are the small manufacturer, then a single year, a 1 year is sufficient to make your to commercialize your product, to commercialize your idea. Okay, so this is your planning period. Where the planning period will change as per the requirement. Okay, or as per the organization size, as per this product. Time required for recovering the capital investment or the payback period. So this is the second important factor that we need to consider. What is the ROI, return on investment? At what within what time I will recover my expenditure, whatever the investment I have done. That is called as the payback period. That is called as the capital recovering of the capital investment. Say I have invested 10 lakh rupees. So in how many years I am going to recover that investment? Okay, so that is called as the payback period. The payback period also influence the planning period. If example, if the machine costs 10 lakhs and generate the cash flow of 2 lakhs per year, management. Okay, if the machine costs 10 lakhs, okay, say I have purchased one machine, the cost of that machine is 10 lakh rupees. Okay, and with that machine, whatever the product I am going to manufacture, with those products 2 lakh rupees per year is my income. Okay, so its payback period is what? The payback period in that case is how much? The payback period in this case is say, okay, so 10 lakh is my investment and 2 lakh is the annual income. So it should be 10 by 2, that is 5 years is my payback period. Is it clear? So whatever the investment divided by, okay, annual cash flow, cash inflow, that is your payback period. So 10 by 2, it is a 5 years. My payback period is 5 years over here. Therefore, the plan should also be for at least 5 years. So whatever the planning I am going to do, the planning period should be minimum 5 years because I required minimum 5 years to recover my investment. Okay, to recover whatever the investment I have done. Okay, and after that, whatever is coming, that is my profit. Length of the commitment already made. Next thing that we are going to discuss over here is the what are the commitment. When you are going to just do certain job, we are going to do certain commitments. The plan period should be long enough to enable the complete already made commitments. So when you are going to do certain planning, when you are going to establish the organization, you are going to do the certain commitments. If the company has agreed to supply goods for 2 years, it need to plan for the same period to fulfill the commitments. Say if a supplier is there and he is saying that, okay, if a manufacturer of the television is there and he has given the assurance that I will supply this television for to the suppliers for next 2 years, so at least he must have the planning for the next 2 years. Okay, so if you have done certain commitments, so you are sure you must have to follow those commitments. So your planning period should be minimum the time of commitments, that minimum time of minimum time that is equal to the commitment time. Then identification of the alternatives are there. So a particular objective can be achieved through implementing various course of action. Okay, same results I can accomplish. Okay, if I want to accomplish a target, if I want to accomplish one objective, I have number of alternatives. Okay, I have number of alternatives. Say simply, if I want to take the lunch, I have a number of alternatives. Either I will take the lunch at home, I will take the lunch at say restaurant, I will take the lunch at certain other location. Okay, then if you have decided that, what are the menu that you are going to include? So you have hundreds of options to take into the lunch. In the same manner, if I want to satisfy one objective, if I want to achieve one goal, there are number of alternatives. Already we have discussed the exam. Say I want to go from Kopargaon to Pune. Okay, I have number of my destination is fixed, my source is fixed. I want to go from Propaganda to Pune, so I have alternatives. I can go by train, I can go by bus, I can go by bike, I can go by car. Okay, so these are the various alternatives which are available for me. Now, selection of alternative is very important because each and every alternative has different cost associated with it. Okay, for example, the organization objective is to grow further, which can be achieved in several years, like expanding the same field of business or product line, diversification in other areas, joining on with the other organization, and so on. एखाद्या ऑर्गनायझेशनचा अल्टरनेटिव्ह काय एम काय आहे इट वॉन्ट टू ग्रो ओके सो it can go in the number of ways, it can grow in the number of ways. Say simply now, you may have heard about this one. There is a merger between the Idea and Vodafone. Okay, the expansion. Each and every organization want to go for the expansion. So what they have done? They have just purchased the organization. So they have Idea want to expand his market share. So what they have done? They have purchased the Vodafone company. Okay, so in the same manner, Mukesh Ambani now purchase one group that is called as the Future Group. Okay, so it is the expansion, but it is the diversified expansion. Okay, because so there are a number of options for the expansion of the business. Either you can expand the business in the same field of business or product line. ओके तुमचा एक्झिस्टिंग बिझनेस आहे त्याला तुम्ही एक्सपांड होऊ शकता. सेकंड ऑप्शन डायव्हर्सिफाय इन अदर एरियाज. नाउ व्हॉट द मुकेश अंबानी डिड, he has done so the acquisition of the Vodafone by Idea is the expanding in the same field of business or product line. आयडियाने जे ओडाफोनला परचेस केलेलं आहे किंवा आयडियाने ओडाफोनला टेक ओव्हर केलेलं आहे ते काय झालं एक्झाम्पल इन द सेम बिझनेस ऑर प्रोडक्ट लाईन. दोघे एकाच कंपनीमध्ये एकाच फील्डमध्ये टेलिफोन ओके telecommunication business. So it is the expansion of the business in the same field. Diversification. Now Mukesh Ambani has purchased the Future Group. Okay, so it is the diversification of the business. Okay, in some cases you are going to join the hands with the organization and so on. So now, say AliExpress has invested a lot of thousands of dollars or say lakhs of dollars in Baiju, nearly 28 crores they have invested in Baiju. So this is the joining head with the organization. Just like in the previous year, 2 years back, your Flipkart have purchased the eBay stakes. Okay, so like this one. With each category, there are several alternatives. For example, diversification may point out of the possibility enter into new or into new one of the several fields. Okay, so when you are going to diversify your business, you are going to come into the new field which is not already in your business portfolio. So you are going to diversify your portfolio. Okay, so and when there is a diversification in the portfolio, the chances of sustain in the business will be increasing. Okay, because in that case, if the one field goes in the there is a recession in one field, definitely you are getting the income from the second field. Okay, so your portfolio is always diversified. It is recommended in most of the cases. Then evaluation and selection of the alternatives. So when you are going to just decide the alternatives, we have find out the number of alternatives over here. Now the next step is you need to evaluate the alternative. You need to find out which is the best suited alternative for you. Just we have discussed that I want to go from Kopargaon to Pune. Okay, and I have suggested the alternatives. What I can go by train, I can go by bus, I can go by car, I can go by bike. Okay, these are certain other alternatives, and there is one more option available me that I can go by plane also from Shirdi to Pune. Okay, so these are certain alternatives available. Now I have to decide that which alternative is feasible for me, which alternative is economical for me, and what is the time limitations for that one. Okay, so evaluation of the alternative is done to determine which is the most appropriate course of action for achieving the goals and objective. So in my case, the most appropriate options over here, either I can go by train or I can go by bike over here. Okay, because these two things are available for me, but at this moment if I go by train, that the train is not available, so I have only one option that I can go by bus or I can go by bike over there, so I can find out there. Second thing is that I need to also consider the what are the monetary resources and the time requirement. If I want to reach to the Pune within the shortest possible time, then I have to go by the by air, okay, by plane. If time is not a criteria over there, then I can go by bike. Okay, and if I have within 4 hours I need to go to the Pune 4 to 5 hours, then I can go by car also. So depending on your requirement, depending on the time, and the depending on the financial resources or the requirement, you can decide which one alternative is suited for you. So you have to finalize the most appropriate course of action. Okay, so this is the thing, most appropriate course of action for achieving the goals and objectives. Okay, so this is very important word, most appropriate. This is done with the help of various quantitative techniques, and for that purpose we need to find out the various quantitative techniques. There are real number of quantitative techniques available in the software as well as manually also you can do that, and operational data methodology. So for that purpose they are going to find out the CPM and PERT analysis, critical path method, and program evaluations techniques are there. Okay, so by using these methods you can select the alternatives over there. Okay, So these two names you have to remember over here. One is your CPM and second one is the PERT. Okay, so one is my CPM, critical path method. Okay, so and this one is second one is PERT, program evaluation and review techniques, PERT. Okay, so those are the commonly used techniques for evaluation of the alternatives, critical path method and PERT, program evaluation and review techniques. Okay, in addition, some few software packages are also available for evaluating the alternatives, and with some few software packages, these are incorporated over there. Okay, so next factor that we are going to decide over here is the developing the derivative and supporting plan. Now you have decided the alternative, you have selected the alternative course of action. The next thing that you are going to do is the I want to just decide, okay, or develop the alternative plan, because your plan does not always get section just success, because we have predicted the futures, we have assumed the futures, and your assumptions are not always correct. There may be it might be possible that your assumptions may get wrong in the course of time. So developing derivative and supportive plan, so for that purpose you need to develop the derivative plan or the supportive plans over there. So now what you are going to do in this one, once the plan is selected, various plans are derived as to so as it supports the main plan. Okay, so I have created the plan, then I have to divide that plan into the various plans, short plan. Okay, just like we are not eating the chapati at whole chapati at once, we are going to divide the chapati into number of sections, and we are going to take one bite at a time. In the same way, if I'm going to execute the complete plan at once, I cannot execute the total plan, so I need to divide the plan into number of sections. The supporting plan may be done for buying equipments, buying raw material, etc. The development of the plan for require following activity. Okay, so your supporting plan may be for buying the equipments, for buying the raw materials, etc. And for that development plan or supportive plans, first is the programming, identify the activities or the task. So if you want to develop the supporting plans, you need to first identify the activities or tasks that need to be completed in order to reach the objectives. Okay, त्याच्यामध्ये आपण आधी काय करणार आहे की तुम्हाला कुठल्या कुठल्या ऍक्टिव्हिटीज कंप्लीट करायचे, त्या ऍक्टिव्हिटीजला फाइंड आउट करायचे. ओके, आणि ऍक्टिव्हिटीज असतील किंवा टास्क असतील, you need to find out that task in order to reach the objective. Okay, then activities they need to be put into the appropriate order or sequence. So this is the second important thing. So once you have finalized the activity, that need to be placed in the proper sequence. Okay, so just like when you are going to do the programming is what? Programming is the logical sequence of activities or logical sequence of instruction. Programming is what? It is simply a set of instruction. When I'm going to write a program for microcontroller, or I'm going to write the program for the computer, what I'm going to do, I'm going to arrange some instructions in the logical manner, and one instruction is dependent on the second instruction. So in the same way, when I'm going to make certain planning, I need to find out the activities which are or the task which I need to complete. Okay, and then I need to arrange those activities or the task in a sequence so that they can be completed, okay, in a proper manner. Then the next thing is that allocation of the resources. Okay, so it is important to identify the resources within the organization. त्यानंतर आपल्याला काय करायचं, आयडेंटिफाय करायचं what are the resources available for me within the organization to carry out the specific activity. So what are the resources over there? The resources are divided generally into manpower, then machinery, materials, or physical resources, human resources, physical resources, and financial resources. These are the three resources which are required for execution of the task. Okay, what are these three resources? Manpower, human resources, that is called as the human resources. Without human resources, it's not possible for me to execute the task in the organization. So human resources are the most important resources. Along with human resources, I require the physical resources. That may be material, raw material is there, machinery are there, tools are there, facilities are there, equipment is there. All this comes under the physical resources. Okay, so now, so first human resources that can be appointed with the help of HR department, human resource department. In that comes both skilled labor as well as unskilled labors. Okay, the next one is your physical resources. Now Once you have finalized that I need to manufacture this product, what is the raw material required for this product, what is the machinery required for, what are the tools for converting the raw material into the finished goods, what are the facilities and equipments required, that you are going to find out. These are called as the physical resources. And the last thing, to procure the financial resources and the human resources, I need physical resources and human resources, I need money. That comes under the financial resources. In both internal as well as external resources are identified. Okay, so when I'm going to do the planning, I need to identify both internal resources as well as the external resources. So material comes under the external resources because I want to procure the material from the some supplier. Okay, then I need to do the scheduling. So what comes under the scheduling? Establishing the required time needed to complete each activity. शेड्यूलिंग मध्ये काय येणार आहे की तुम्हाला टाइम अलोकेट करायचा आहे, किती पर्टिक्युलर ऍक्टिव्हिटी किती वेळामध्ये कंप्लीट करायची. what is the time required for completion of that activity, that comes under the scheduling. It involves the assessment of how long each task has to be completed. Okay, so basically in scheduling you need to allocate the time for completion of one activity or one task. Then the last one is your fixing accountability. Okay, so we need to fix the accountability over here. Determine the specific individual and institution which will be responsible for the accomplishment of the identified activities. Okay, so here what you need to do, you need to identify the individual and institution. ओके, मग एखादी कंपनी असेल, तुमच्या ग्रुपमध्ये एखादा वर्कर असेल, तो सुपरवायझर आहे. मग सुपरवायझर सर्व गोष्टी करू नाही शकत. त्याला काही एखाद्या टीममधनं 10 जण तुमच्या अंडरमध्ये, 10 मधल्या एकाला काढायचं आणि त्याला सांगायचं यू आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर डुईंग दॅट, यू नीड टू टेक केअर ऑफ दिस वन. Or if you are the supervisor, then the manager will tell you that you are responsible for this one, and if something is going to be happen, if that credit goes to you. Okay, if something is good, then also you are responsible, something is bad, then also you are responsible. So you are going to fix the accountability in that manner. Simple instruction instruments like Gantt charts. So for that purpose we are going to use Gantt chart, can be used to identify indicate the task and plan completion, which indicates task vertically on y-axis and time horizontally on x-axis. So basically for fixing the accountability, what you are going to do in the organization, we are going to use the Gantt chart. In the Gantt chart we are going to just indicate the what are the activities, what are the tasks you need to perform on the y-axis, and the time required for execution of the task in the x-axis. So and as the task is completed you are going to mark it. Okay, so that will make one chart over there. It is called as the Gantt chart. Then the next thing that we are going comes under this one, measuring and controlling the process. When you are going to execute the plan, at that time you need to do the measurement of the plan, whether the plan is going to achieve my required target or not. We must monitor the progress of the plan, else the result may in the huge loss. If you are not going to monitor the progress of the plan, then that may result into the huge loss. Supervisor need to check the progress of their plan and accordingly take the remedial action on it. So basically what is the role of supervisor over here? The role of supervisor is that he need to check the progress, whether the plan is going to accomplish the task on time or not. Okay, whether the your task or whether the activities are going to be completed within the prescribed time or within the planned time or not, that you need to check. And if it is not going to be completed within time, then you need to take certain remedial action. The remedial action may be say in some cases we need to reschedule it, in some cases we need to modify the procedure, in some cases we need to give the penalties also. Okay, so depending on whatever the things are going to do, you need to take the remedial action over there. So the process of controlling is a part of the plan. So controlling is a integral part of your planning process. We cannot separate these two. Okay, so this is sufficient for today.